Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And a Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 600, Mr. Somich.
You know, you've been doing this too long. Huzzah! When you don't even have a special show celebrating 600, right? I mean, we're like, we got to with 100, there was a special show. 200, there's a special show. I think 300 and 500 had one, but at 6, you can't do a special until 1,000 now, Magic. We got 400 more to go till we do something crazy.
Lord help me. 400 more of these. Hey, special thanks to Aaron for filling in for me while I was on paternity leave to get us this far, and then John Gosker, last week's guest as well. And special shout out to Vinny Blonde, because if you're watching the YouTube show, I'm wearing the Saratoga Hawaiian shirt. When I saw the giveaway list long before the meet started, and I saw this, I texted Vinny and I was like, please, can you get me one of these? I will be your best friend. So I owe Vinny something special in return. But I've been waiting. It got here this week. I've been waiting all week to wear it, and had to debut it for episode 6. This is the special thing I'm doing for 600. I'm wearing a Saratoga shirt.
There you go. Yeah, no, trust me. The giveaways this year, top notch. I got to say, the T-shirt was nice this year as well. This Hawaiian shirt, nice little touch there. The blanket was gone like that. And it's interesting because it's not just Saturdays anymore. They're getting creative with how to try and drive attendance on Fridays, on Sundays, all these different ways. And that's one of the ways is those giveaways. But yeah, here we go. Vinny spun for Magic. If you've never been to Saratoga, spinning is a thing there where every time you pay for entry or you enter with your season pass, you get a ticket for the giveaway. So back when it was $3 to get in and it was like T-shirt day or hat day or something, my entire family would show up. And my dad would give us all like $9, and we'd each go through 3 times. You spin through the gate. So you literally walk in, get your ticket, walk out, walk in, get your ticket, walk out, walk in, get your ticket, and then head over to the giveaways. And that's why that stuff goes so fast, is because people are literally spinning to get 10, 15 of these things.
Wow. I did not. That's
little home court knowledge there.
No kidding. Not a quarter zip. It is just a Hawaiian button-up. I would demonstrate that it is a button-up for you, but I say that for the fantasy draft shows.
Oh, okay, that too.
And for the OnlyFans account. But hey, yeah, we're back to Saratoga. It is Sword Dancer Day on Saturday. The Sword Dancer itself, a Grade 1 Breeders' Cup winner for the turf. Barbridge is in there back to defend his title. And an interesting cast of characters. An interesting sequence. It, of course, ends with the usual Naira, just New York bred turf route or turf sprint or just something turf where they pack the field. 10 runners.
I love that race.
I know you do. I look at that and just go, it's like, hello, old friend. You've come to screw with me again. Yeah. What's the weather going to be like? Because there's one MTO. Have you looked at the weather for tomorrow?
The weather is, knock on wood, phenomenal. It's been phenomenal for like a week and a half. We had a little bit of rain last week, but it's been fast and firm Wednesday, fast and firm yesterday, fast and firm today, fast and firm tomorrow. I'm not going to make any jokes about it, but yes, it is supposed to be very good weather throughout the entire weekend. So good time to be playing Saratoga.
Oh, so you're not Jared. Good to know. Let's without further ado, let's dive into it. The Magic Mike Show, episode 600 at Saratoga. For Sword Dancer Day. Right is up. All right, kicking things off with, of course, true to form, my internet just took a giant poopy. I see the indicator telling me it's bad. We'll work through this anyways. Race 8, kicking off late pick 5, 6 furlongs, main track, a very salty allowance optional claiming event. Where are you going?
Well, see, this is interesting because this is we've got 2 horses that are returning here that I liked at very big prices, who I thought ran very well last time out. And the first of those 2 is featured in this race. I'm going to play a 50-cent ticket, and it's not a very expensive one. And then I'm going to play back a $5 ticket here, which is $30 as well. And it's going to start out with the number 2, Damon's Mount. I liked this horse last time out at 17-1. I thought it had a shot to hit the exotics underneath. I used it just in case we saw a huge run. Since the switch over to the Mott Barn, this has been the horse that we kind of expected this horse to be off the early career. Ran very well, winning a state-bred stakes race in Florida, jumps into an open stakes race, and I thought ran really well and got a kind of a bad trip in Delaware. Then breaks incredibly well, gets the lead in the Vanderbilt, and doesn't completely quit out, and is beat by Bookham Dano and Melican. No shame there. Nakatomi, who loves Saratoga, beats him by a neck. I thought it was a really good run from Damon's Mound. We know Damon's Mound can stalk and win. We hadn't seen that level of speed from him in a very long time to be able to get to the front against those horses. I think he can make his trip here. He kind of decides, okay, Pratt gets him out. If there's speed to the outside, you tuck back and you make your run coming around the far turn. If no one else goes with you, he can go gate to wire in this spot. It's a salty field. But if I'm pressing here, I want to press through Damon's Mound. So I'm going to single the 2 on the press ticket, but I am going to spread a little bit more. Did you use the 2 Damon's Mound, or are you a little worried about the price adjustment we saw from last race to this one?
Not worried about the price. If we were running the Breeders' Cup Sprint this weekend, but off of the Vanderbilt, I said Bookham Dano is my Breeders' Cup Sprint play because the horse loves 6 furlongs. He loves a fast track. He's going to get those at Del Mar. Not worried about the price switch because I thought Bookham Dano was a standout in that race, especially the way he ran in it. Hey, you're getting Flavien Prat, so that's automatically going to attract attention, even if he was cold. So Chris Maiello's the one who invoked Jared's wrath. I wondered. Every time Pratt won a race, Saturday onward, Jared was tweeting another win for Pratt, ice cold Pratt, ice cold Pratt. So I wondered who that.
It was a lot of people. A lot of people were all over Pratt. And then the DQ happened with the Zulu Kingdom. And then you had the revenge of Flavien Prat against the Stewards the following day, where I believe he won 4. It was a matter of time till he started to heat up. I don't think he was giving bad rides. I think the horses just weren't running that he was on. And now we're seeing that change.
I agree with you. Junior Alvarado's at Colonial Downs on Saturday for Arlington Million Day. He's got riding a horse for Mott in the Secretariat. So Pratt, all right, yeah, we'll go from Alvarado, the Barnes main jockey, to Pratt. That's okay. I almost singled him. On further review, kind of when I was going back and looking, I ended up going too deep. And the reason is because of Bookham Dano. Bookham Dano aired in the Vanderbilt. Last year, I was very hard on Bookham Dano because he almost lost a 4-horse race to some rinky-dink Monmouth, Delaware sprinter named Little Knee. Shame on me, because Little Knee almost won in the mud last time out. Just missed a Concrete Glory going 7 furlongs. He's got 3 wins and a second by a nose to Bookham Dano at 6 furlongs, which is our distance. And you got Mark Cassie, Jose Ortiz second off of a long layoff. So to me, there are a lot of reasons this horse can take a step forward from that 95 buyer, maybe get right up to that 101 he got for the Jersey Shore near miss to Bookham Dano last year. So I went 2-6 in here. The 6, I kept going back, and I was like, I'm scared of this horse. I don't want this horse to beat me. And because I'm not using Farbridge and the Sword Dancer, I felt comfortable using the 2 shortest prices in this race.
Yeah, your latter part of that explanation is the reason I'm going 3 deep and using the 6 Little Knee and the 8 Surveillance. I have a couple horses I like later at bigger prices, and I'm going to leave Farbridge off as well, which means that I'm willing to try and get through on the 50 center here with some of the shorter prices in this race, because I do think it's tough. I think Little Knee is a big chance to run back to what we saw earlier in his career, now second off the layoff, as you mentioned, for Cassie. You would expect you're going to get a pretty good performance out of him in this spot. And Surveillance getting back to the dirt, I think, is interesting as well. Just draw a line through that turf race. And prior to that, he is a very good horse, and he can stalk. And this is a lower level field than what he has been facing from a listing perspective. I kind of feel like this is a grade 3 race with Damon's Mound and with Little Knee in here, but Surveillance fits with this group. He also gets the outside post, which I think could prove beneficial if you're going to see a ton of speed forward here, and you'd be able to kind of make your own trip from the outside and decide when you want to pounce. So for me, I'm going to go 3 deep here with the 2, 6, and 8, hopefully get through this leg with a shorter price and then be able to blow it up a little bit later. But I am going to single Damon's Mound there in the $5 ticket.
You're going 3 deep. Who else are you using?
2, 6, 8. So I'm going to use Little Knee and then Surveillance on the outside.
Okay, sorry, I must have missed that. I'm so sorry. Trying to fight off a cough here. It's worth noting, if you got $100,000 lying around, you can buy Surveillance from this race. 8-year-old gelding Claim him off of Linda Rice. What could possibly go wrong for you with a $100,000 purchase? Moving on, race number 9 is the Grade 2 Saratoga Oaks, going a mile and 3/16, and a shorter field here of 6 horses, partially because we have Colonial Downs running. There's just a lot of 3-year-old filly races. I think this is kind of the one that gets forgotten about in the middle running here. But Chad Brown with Opulent Restraint 2-1, Laurel Inn 9-5, and you've got Go-Go Boots debuting for the Miguel Clement barn in post 3. Where'd you go on top?
Look, this is the other horse that I liked at a big price that I thought could hit the board and I thought ran very well last time, and that was Opulent Restraint on the rail. 20-1 against Fiona and Nitrogen, ends up running third in that race. I thought really dug in well and didn't give it up as those two both were able to surge by. Only ended up losing by 3/4 of a length, those two photoed in front of this horse. That was at 1 1/8. That was the first time this horse had gone that long. I thought the speed held exceptionally well, went 46-110 on that day. They came home in sub 12 seconds for the final furlong, and you didn't see Opulent Restraint give it up even when pressed. You switch from Rosario to Pratt. Pratt's the rider who won with this horse at BAQ in the only stakes race victory of Opulent Restraint's career. She came back and ran in the Grade 3 Florida Oaks, lost to Nitrogen and Lush Lips. Absolutely no shame in that. And now you're getting a much easier field in my mind. Laurelyn's a good horse on the outside. Don't get me wrong. I think Opulent Restraint's just better. And there is no other speed here. Totally justified. The only other horse that could possibly press Opulent Restraint, I just don't think she's fast enough. I mean, and if Opulent Restraint can go, I don't know, 23-48 instead of 23-46-110, I think she's got the legs to get this thing going gate to wire. So I have the one on top, Opulent Restraint. I did go too deep because I am intrigued by a second horse in here.
I am going to pull a Chris Bialo. I'm going to go against Flavien Prat here. From watching the replays of the horse, like, she's got talent, but she struggled to get the job done in several starts after having, decent setups. Her 2 wins were actually not on the pace. It was coming from off the pace as a 2-year-old. And I'm worried that this new pace dynamic for her is not actually her best running style. And now we're going to mile 3/16. She's never gone that far. If Pratt decides to change tactics and go back to the ride he gave her on the Chelsea Flower when she came from off the pace and won, then I think that she's more of a player in here. But I went with Laurelyn. And I was reading Graham Motion talking about this is a horse he actually originally thought he was going to send to Royal Ascot. And then he got cold feet. And then he watched the race he was going to send her and is like, I think maybe I should have sent her to Royal Ascot. And instead she went to the Penn Oaks. Big difference there, but she was clearly the best in the field of 5. So a short field, had to rally from off the pace. And then Candy Quest came back and won a race next time out at Woodbine with an 88 buyer. So I know the buyers are light for the 6, but I think just she hasn't been in a graded stakes race yet. And we talk about buyers being inflated the higher up in class you go. I think the fact that she hasn't been up in the grade stakes is why her buyers aren't there yet. So I put her on top, but we did end up agreeing on the 3-horse Go-Go Boots, which the horse is named. If you haven't seen a picture of the horse, she's a chestnut filly, so bright chestnut color, but all 4 legs, she's white up almost halfway up each leg. She's a beautiful looking filly, but she's called Go-Go Boots because it looks like she's literally wearing her Go-Go boots, and it's just a fun thing. She was facing much tougher. The Epsom Oaks, no shot. Mini Hawk came back and won next out as well, as did Whirl. Ribblesdale at Royal Ascot, 1.5 miles. She was stuck in traffic, but she finished 4th in the field of 11 in an extremely tough meet. There's no world beaters in here, at least from what we've seen so far. So that's why I like the 3, and I'm guessing that's a big reason you're intrigued as well.
I wrote an article a long time ago about the knowns and unknowns. Go-Go Boots is simply the unknown to me. We don't know how good she is going to be right off the bench here, first time in the U.S. Clement, as Chris Maiello mentions, absolutely on fire right now. He is taken over his father's stable under suboptimal conditions, obviously, unfortunate conditions, and made them take a step forward. I mean, you're seeing some of the Clement horses run better than they ever have. I think it's interesting. You're seeing Ortiz here. That's not a jockey his father used very often, and now you've got him on Go-Go Boots here in this spot. Jose Ortiz has been riding very well, especially on the turf there at Saratoga. So this is the one where, like, look, I don't like Laurelin. I understand why you would, and I like the last race was unyielding. It was first off the layoff. There's reasons to believe you improvement here, but she's never gone this distance either. She's only gone a mile in her career, so I'd rather take a shot with Go-Go Boots, who has been facing group company over in Europe here in this spot, and has been going the mile and 3/16, mile and a half. So the stamina there. The question is, how is she going to handle this first time here? I also, and this is, look. I think the ownership groups are interesting in horse racing. When certain people buy horses and bring them over, I pay more attention. Bobby Flay is one of those people. He has done very well when he has bought European horses and brought them over. The fact that he bought Go-Go Boots and brought her over here makes me believe that she is going to be a runner in this spot. So 1 and 3 for me, 3 and 6 for you. Since you owe me a bottle of Casamigos, you've yet to pay up on that debt. Would you like to go double or nothing here? Would you? Because I will say that not only so it's Opulent Restraint has to make the lead, and if she does, if she's ahead at the half mile point, head up Opulent Restraint versus Laurelin. Whoever finishes higher, I get Opulent Restraint, you get Laurelin for a bottle of Casamigos. If she doesn't make the lead, no bet. So then you're not worried about the trip where you think she's better.
No,
come on.
No. I don't have a strong enough opinion for that one. CSJ has a strong opinion on the 2, though. I'm going to change the subject. I'm going to say no more. Irad's going to be aboard a horse that's faced bigger fields and has been able to close to some degrees of success. I think this is a tougher spot for her. Can she close into what'll probably be a more tepid pace is the question.
Yeah, that's the big question for me too. This is going to be a Naira pace. We joke about, how you have Naira paces, you've got Del Mar paces. This is going to be a Naira pace. Like, unless Opulent Restraint tries to run them off their feet, they're going 48, maybe 49 to the half here, because it's just Totally Justified that's going to press, and I don't think Totally Justified wants to go with Opulent Restraint. And if Totally Justified starts pressing, Opulent Restraint's not going to back off. And to me, that tells you that this pace is not going to be very quick, and that is why I kind of move away from Say No More. It's why I move away from Laurelin, who I think needs a pace to develop to be able to catch Opulent Restraint. For me, it'd be tough to get to the 2, tough to get to the 5. This was really just 1, 3, 6, and who do I believe are the best horses? I think 1 has the pace edge and 3 is the unknown, so that's why I landed on those 2.
Moving on to race number 10, third leg of the late pick 5, the Grade 1 Sword Dancer Stakes, mile and a half on the inner turf course, and a $750,000 purse, a berth to the Breeders' Cup turf on the line, and the defending champion, Far Bridge, with the red-hot Miguel Clement, and the equally red-hot, thanks to the Naira Stewards, Joel Rosario, who's winning 20% so far at the meet, which is mind-boggling that he has a better percentage than Pratt. Again, thanks to the Naira Stewards. But Charlie Appleby's bringing 2 in here, including Nation's Pride, who won the Arlington Million last year, and they said, not that easier spot. We're going to go where Mystic Dan's trying turf. Like, that's what that field is like. We're going to come over here and face Far Bridge and the defending champ. Okay.
It's funny. You've mentioned that DQ twice now. Ridiculous DQ. Zulu Kingdom never should have come down. Rosario's ride in that race was like an all-timer, because Luther might have won the race if Rosario just didn't get himself in trouble in the first turn. Because yes, he also ran into that hole. Like, he could have just backed off and let whatever happened in front of him happen, and then run into the ass of a horse around the backstretch because he just made a middle move right into the back of another horse for no reason. Anyway. Are you surprised Nation's Pride and El Cordobas are both here? Because I was shocked that one of these wasn't in the Arlington Million. It made me kind of take a step back and not really want to jump all over this one.
Well, I was reading the interview on Daily Racing Form where Appleby's assistant said that he thinks that Nation's Pride at this point in his career is better at a mile and a half. The fact that it's a mile and a half race, I think, is a big reason that they're both here. You look at the distances El Cordobas has run. He's gone shorter than a mile and a half on turf twice in 7 turf starts. I think that's a big key, is the distance for both of them. But it is interesting that you don't send one of them there. You also, again, have the Breeders' Cup turf berth on the line. And that made me feel better about the fact that they're both here instead of splitting them up, because we've seen Appleby do that in the past as well.
Yeah, it just caught me off guard. I was expecting, especially with Nation's Pride winning that race last year, and it being for $250,000 more, you'd see him over there, or at least cross-entered, but ends up here in this spot. And Look, I kind of have a rule. When William Buick comes over with the horse, usually means the horse going to be pretty good. I have
Yeah.
Nation's Pride on top here, and I'm going to single Nation's Pride in the press ticket in this spot. This horse has proven that he can handle the U.S. turf. It's not a concern. We've seen this horse over here, I think 4 straight years now. And I love the fact that I get to try and beat Farbridge at 9-5. Hopefully Farbridge gets bet down on here. The fact that Buick came over with Nation's Pride, a proven horse who wants the distance. Appleby picks this spot over a spot that he won last year with Nation's Pride. I think it's all systems go here with the 5. And I'm hoping we get 3-1 on race day. I think there's no chance we end up at 3-1. I think you'd see closer to even prices on Nation's Pride and Farbridge.
Same top play for me. I ended up going 4 deep in here. The top 2 were the Appleby horses. Pratt picks up El Cordobes when Buick was riding him. The distance is a big thing, right? He's never finished off worse than 3rd at the distance. 2 wins, including the Princess of Wales Stakes, which is a great Group 2 event at Newmarket last time out. I think he's got a lot of there's still some upside with him too. He's a 4-year-old. He's popped a triple-digit time for him 3 of his 4 starts. The one time he didn't, it was a 98, so he's 2 points off there at York, and he was going longer. So I think he's for me, it's 5-1 clearly, and then I went price hunting because I went 4 deep underneath.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's 5-1 clearly, and I think that people are going to be surprised when El Cordobes is in the lead. I think this is your speed horse as well. Was forwardly placed in almost all the Europe races, and you look through this field, and I don't really see the pace. Joel Rosario probably could do it with Farbridge if he wanted to, but that's not what Joel usually does with Farbridge or any other horse that has the ability to go if there's not a ton of speed. And Pratt drawing the rail with 2 for Appleby and Nation's Pride wanting to come from off the pace sure feels like he sends in this spot. So I think El Cordobes ends up getting the lead on the inside and plays catch me if you can, basically with this field at 1.5 miles over a distance that he's proven that he can handle. Like you mentioned, Group 2 last time out, winning by open lengths over in Europe. So I think the 1 is awfully interesting here, trying to go gate to wire. I too went price hunting after the 6. I only took 1 other price though. And this is a horse that Farbridge beat last time out in the number 7, El Resin, who's sitting on the board at 15-1. I talked about this horse last time that Farbridge won. I tried to beat Farbridge that day in a 4-horse field. It was not a 4-horse field when I originally was picking the race.
Right.
That kind of changed the complexion of it because it's a lot harder for Rosario to get in trouble with only 4 horses on the course. He can do it, but it is harder.
I'd say not impossible. Just
not
harder.
Impossible, yeah, but harder. I really like what this horse has done as it's progressed throughout its career. It took a little while to break the maiden, but breaks the maiden, jumps into N1X Company, ends up winning that race, going 1 mile and 3/8 here at Saratoga, comes back at Backwood, runs in the jockey, the Derby Invitational over there, and runs 3rd to Carson's Run in Deterministic. Deterministic turned out to be a pretty good horse in that Clement barn there. Comes back last time in the Bowling Green against Farbridge. I thought ran a really good race for the layoff that we saw there. Hadn't run in almost 4 months. Now you get second off the layoff for Pletcher. You get an English Channel horse. Those generally get better as you get longer into the career. I think El Resin is a legitimate player here at 15-1. You need to improve. I understand that, but it's second off the layoff later in the 4-year-old season for a Pletcher with English Channel, and you're getting 7.5 times the odds as the 6 horse. To me, it's an easy choice to take the 7 over the 6 on multi-race tickets here.
We agree. Top 3 in order, 5-1-7. I love the breeding on the 7. That caught my attention in the Bowling Green when you had an English Channel sired horse out of a Kitten's Joy mare that went 1-2. I know it was a 4-horse field, but pretty cool. And now you get a horse that is very much pace dependent, who's going to get hopefully some sort of pace in front of him there. Grand Sonata, the 8, is going to scratch. She's going to run at Colonial instead. So he won't be part of that. But Al Razin, yeah, I'm with you. It's a horse that, loves Saratoga. 2 wins in that second last out. This is the time to play English Channel horses when they're 4. I agree with everything you said. I went with the 9 Utah Beach as my last one, another English Channel horse. 2 back in the Louisville. I thought that was a really impressive effort. Verstappen's a consistent horse that every time I bet him to win or pick him to win, he'll run like 2nd or 3rd, but he doesn't ever get the job done. But he's a consistent type at that 1.5 miles. And then last time out in the Chorleywood, horrible traffic trouble for him. He got completely stopped in the stretch and couldn't really, you slam on the brakes on a horse when they're making a move, you're not going to be able to get them to re-engage. So I'm willing to forgive that one. And Correa said even if he hadn't gotten stopped, he didn't know if he was going to win because he thought 1 mile and 3/8 was too short. I'm like, Okay.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
yeah, four of the 5 career wins in less than half the starts has been at this distance. So I'll roll with him. Um, Correas, I don't know if you saw this news. He's going to be retiring soon, going back to Argentina, which sucks because I love Nacho Correas horses, especially when you get them at a price. So he's going back to Argentina. But before he leaves, I think he's got one more Grade 1 winner possibly there. Oh, yeah, Chris, just as I was saying it. Yeah, he's retiring at the end of the year. Let's get him a Breeders' Cup runner in Utah Beach. Even if he doesn't win this race, I want to see Nacho at the Breeders' Cup one more time.
Gotta have the nachos at Keeneland in the fall meet here to send him off properly, because that's where he does a lot of his damage, is when you get to
Yes.
the grades meet. And that's, look, I'm worried about pace for Utah Beach more than I am for El Resin, especially with the outside post and the 3-turn race. Like, I have concerns that Utah Beach is going to be a little too far off it to be able to make a run here. And it is a step up in Class 2. I do think this is significantly better than what he has been facing the last couple races. So that's the reason I left Utah Beach off there. But I feel like I have this race covered with 157, and I'm not using a 9-5 shot. So that makes this a very playable race in my mind.
Speaking of Nacho Correas and Keeneland, Nanda Diaz working again. Let's get her to Keeneland in the fall, baby. Love that one.
He might make some noise at Kentucky Downs too. That's a Nacho style track.
The penultimate leg of the Leaping 5 Saturday, August 9th at Saratoga, race 11. We're done with the stakes action, though. Races 8 and 11, very stakes worthy potentially. Allowance race 7 furlongs for fillies and mares at the M1 Next Level. And 3 and 4-year-olds, no 5-year-olds in here. Chad Brown's got 2, Pletcher, Johnny Ortiz, Shug, Bill Mott, Ray Handel, and whoever the hell Shower is. I'm just kidding. Steve Shower trains the 6 horse. Where'd you go on top?
Steve Shower, 9 for 29 on the year. I'd like to be clicking at 31%. That wouldn't be too bad. Look, I want to. The 7 furlongs at Saratoga is always an interesting distance, because you get a lot of these horses that have gone 6 and are forwardly placed. And then the question becomes, are we stumble bunnies down the lane? Is the track going to carry us? What's going to happen?
Right.
I think it sets up really well for one of the 4-year-olds in the field here, the number 7, Who Could Ask for Mo, coming in off of a year layoff here for Shug McGay. He's 11%, but has a $1.71 ROI. So wins with some prices coming off this type of layoff. You go back to what they thought of this horse, and it was a lot. If you go back to that 3-year-old season, they were running in the Devona Dale, the Gazelle, the Black-Eyed Susan. They thought this was a real horse that had a shot to run. You go back and you look at like the mile races at Tampa Bay. They weren't bad. I didn't even mind the 7 furlong debut, and it was just kind of a rough trip, and this horse got carried way wide. He added blinkers last time, and all of a sudden speed showed up in this horse. They went 47 to the half, and we were only a length off it. That would have been a far cry from what we saw from this horse the prior year. Blinkers stay on here for second time out with blinkers, and the pace should be hot. This is the horse I think should be rolling late, and I'm getting the right price at 8-1. So top pick in here is going to be the 7, Who Could Ask for Mo. I am going to go 4 deep in this race and 3 deep on the press ticket, though, because I do think this is a very contentious running of this race.
I went 2 deep, and I had that horse in third. My concern is that between the layoff and the fact that she was doing all of her running as a 3-year-old, pretty much, a 3 or 4-year-old rather, she was doing all of that running, routing. I'm like, that if she didn't have the layoff, the 7 would be, if this was second off the layoff, especially, she'd be on my ticket. You made a good point for Wyatt, and you're going to get a good price on her, so it's not like you're taking a favorite with question marks here. I just worried that this wasn't the spot to use her, that maybe next time out would be where where you want to play her. But she's beautifully bred by Uncle Mo out of a Bernardini mare. And Shug's no dummy. The fact that he's 0 for 12 at the meet baffles me, but it is a tough meet to win in Saratoga. I used the 2 Chad Brown horses. I put the 3 Alyeska on top. Daughter of Vacoma, very lightly raced. Had 1 start as a 2-year-old with Norm Cassie, was part of the Mary Lou Whitney stables dispersal that happened. Who was it? Captain Cook? Yeah, Captain Cook was part of that, and the Cassie barn was really sad to lose him because they thought a lot of him. He went on to be a stakes winner. They liked Alyeska a lot too, and they were sad to lose her. But this horse, on the bench for a long time, clearly had some issues, some growing pains, but came back at this 7 furlong distance at Saratoga. Good third. Next on stage was second, but next on stage, who's in here, the 8 horse, has the tendency to be speed and quit, and that's what we saw from the 8. So I think that the 3 is a horse that's going to need the track to help carry her, as is the 2 Limes Don't Lie. but I'm hoping there's enough speed and quit in here that I can take advantage of it. So 3 for me, the 2. I think she's better than the Buyer Speed Figures show, so I just used the 2 Chads.
Yeah, those are my other 2 pressed horses. So I'm 237 on the press ticket. Limes Don't Lie was my second place horse. I almost had the 2 on top of the 7, so I had these 2 pretty close here. And I agree with you. I don't think the buyers do justice what this horse was able to do midsummer here. And the one race at Aqueduct coming at 7 furlongs, I thought was a very good win. The winner of that or the second place horse wins next out off of that maiden special weight. You come back to that $50,000 N1X allowance race, and just never really looked comfortable going the mile at Saratoga. Did make a little bit of a run on the far turn and then kind of backed up a little bit. I think this 7 furlong distance is going to be a little bit better here for the daughter of Mackenzie. So I like this horse here setting up for Saratoga, and I like Alieska quite a bit as well. That if you go back to the maiden score at Churchill, just awful start, and was able to roll late. So this horse able to pass horses. They started her at 6.5 furlongs. That tells you that this horse always wanted more of the 6.5, 7, 1 mile type distances. And again, I think the pace sets up really well for someone to come from off of it. So 237 for me on the press ticket. And I'm going to add the 1, Practical Love, as a horse that, look, you see these horses from Mott that just pop at Saratoga sometimes. And Practical Love was struggling and popped at Saratoga last time out, going 6.5 furlongs. Pressed a pace, was able to clear from those horses, was geared down in the stretch. I don't love using these type of horses first time against winners, but you've got a best last out buyer over this track. It's a better buyer than anyone who's running the entire field in that last race, and it's Mott at Saratoga. We've seen him do it before with these type of horses. So on the 50 center, I'm going to include the 1, but I'm going to leave it off on the $5 ticket.
Yeah, the price scared me off. The price stepping up to face winners for the first time. She's never broken from more inside than post number 6. But to her credit, the 2 fast dirt races that she's had as a 3-year-old, if you forgive her debut as a 2, she was second beaten the neck and then broke the maiden. And the maiden win was the better Buyer Speed Figure. It was the longer distance, 6.5, so that portends well for 7. She scares me, but I'm gonna try to beat her and just hope that we can get through that race 11 without her winning.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I do think she is a very scary horse. And I understand too wanting to leave her off because next on stage is going to go, right? And so you're going to see pace pressure from the outside. Some of those middle horses that we didn't talk about want to be forward as well. So she's not going to get clear. But I do like the fact that she sat in second and was able to win. So we'll see what type of ride Jose Ortiz can work out. Again, I'll be rooting for the 237 because they're on the $5 ticket. But if I'm right about like El Resin and I'm beating other favorites, I want to include Practical Love because I do like her a little bit here, although it is the 7 and the 2 on top for me.
I went down a English Channel rabbit hole. Did you know, as we move on to race 12, which is a turf race, so I'll try to tie it in a little bit, his last career start, he wins the Breeders' Cup Turf at age 5, holds the record for the longest margin, or held the record for the biggest margin of victory by 7 lengths.
Woo!
Going 1.5 miles. Yeah.
That's a lot of
age
lengths.
5,
in the Breeders' Cup.
7 in the Breeders' Cup. Yeah. And by the way, purchased for $50,000. Nobody ever gives English Channel horses the love, including the man himself.
Do you know who the second biggest gap was? Because I want to say it was that horse that won at Del Mar two Del Mars ago, and I had the second place runner.
You're not thinking of Highland Reel at Santa Anita, are you?
No. Who ran second to Highland Reel? Here, you set up the race.
Found and Flinch. I know Found and Flincher were right there because I bet Flincher, and the stupid ass Highlander Reel kept going.
Let's see.
Pissed me off so bad. That's all right. We're the shows are going really quick. We've got time.
We got time to mess around.
Look at this. Yeah.
Yabir, the year Yabir won in 2021. Was Yabir the next biggest gap?
Well, when he did it, it was so in 2007, it was the record. Yabir Broom.
Now you're making me do all this searching.
That's all right.
Because Yabir won by open lengths.
Shamdanan was second to English Channel. You would ask me that. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Hold on. Well, let's pull up Yabir. Yabir, I'd forgotten all about him. That was like the other.
Yeah, because I had the horse that ran second at a price. I had Broom, who was 20-1.
Which is a mare, right, for Aiden.
Yeah.
No, that was just a half length. Yabir won by a half length there.
Oh, I thought it was longer than that. All right. Anyway, back to the regularly scheduled program.
Yeah, I'll set you up, and then I'm gonna look up Highland Reels Gap. The race 12, the get out leg, the go home leg of the late pick 5 Saturday, August 9th at Saratoga, mile and an eighth for the New York Breds on the outer turf course here. N1X Allowance Company, where are you going on top?
I'm going to single in here. This is one of my favorite bets of the day, which is, very Mike-like because these are the type of races I often try and target. I have a big time trip note on the number 2 Amplitude here, and I love this spot coming back because I'm not going to mince words, Magic. This field sucks. This is not a good field of horses for this level, and I realize it's New York State bred and 1X allowance level, but it ain't great, and there is ample speed to be able to set up for Amplitude. The last race was just a terrible trip, right? It breaks slowly from the 11 post. It has to go all the way over. It's 12 lengths back at the first call, 9 lengths back at the half mile point. They went 47-2. Just look, one race prior to that was only 4 3/4 lengths back at the half mile point. Basically lost 5 to 6 lengths of where this horse wanted to be. If you compare it to the other races, still runs a career best buyer first off the layoff, first time out as 4. Uncle Mo on the top, Smart Strike on the bottom. This horse is bred to absolutely love the distance here at a mile and an eighth. I think the longer the better for Amplitude. I also think it means Amplitude is closer to the pace. By the way, you're going to save all the ground on both of these turns because the one's going to go and the Amplitude is just going to sit right behind whoever decides to be in front of them. This, to me, is just a setup here where Amplitude gets a absolutely dream trip. It has the talent to be able to beat this group, and you're setting second up off the layoff. Second out is a 4-year-old. This is just all systems go on here. And when I look through the rest of this field, I didn't even know who else to like. And that, to me, was a big part of this because, I think I have Charles J, the 10 in second. I don't really like that horse. I don't like the post. I don't know if the trip's going to be great. I don't like any of the speed in here. And there's 4 horses that want to be forward. So, to me, this was one of the easier picks of the day in the number 2 Amplitude here on top. I hope I get anywhere near 5-2. Anywhere near 5-2.
That's the big question mark if you'll get that price. Sorry, your trip note, was it for the last race or the one in November?
The last race, breaking 11 from 11.
Yeah. Because I have a trip note for that November race.
Yeah, had trouble in that one too. Yes.
Because he was my big play in that race, and he got squeezed and pinched back at the start and just never picked up his feet, which I thought was odd because his maiden win, he did pick up his feet after coming from the back. So it was good to see him do it again in June 9th. By the way, video call available, the RDGHA. So if you want to do that and you're blocked. I put this horse second. I get why you're singling it. I went 5 deep just because I got to this part and I was like, this makes my head hurt. I did put Charles J on top. I think that again, it's a horse that's going to get carried from the back. And it's Irad hopping aboard for the second time for a trainer that's only had 2 runners at the meet. One of them hit the board. It was this horse on July 20th. And it's a little bit of a quick turnaround, but they're adding blinkers, which this horse had before, but didn't have Lasix at the same time. And you see how the horse was suddenly much better at closing once the horse had Lasix. But Lasix is the problem with horse racing. I went with the 10 on top, but I really, really didn't have a strong opinion like you did in here. So I'll just say I went 2, 5, 7, 9, 10. I went any horse that I was like, do I think you have a chance in here? Yes. The 1, Finger Lakes Shipper. I don't care that you're by Mendelssohn. You weren't good enough to win at Finger Lakes in all those races. The 3, worse than the 1. Same situation, worse setup. The 4, look at the 3. Yeah. The 6 was kind of where I ended up passing, but this is just because the horse is first time versus winners, and maybe that's a wrong decision because we both agree this isn't a standout field. One comment on the trainer, Lisa Bartkowski. She's the partner of Philip Serpy. She's been Philip's assistant trainer for a decade, 2 decades. He's currently battling this inane HISA violation that thing. So that's why all of his horses have switched over to Lisa. But I would consider, if you like the horse with Philip Serpy, consider it the same with Lisa. Anyways, back to the list. The 8, no, I don't like any of the Mirage riders. I don't care which Mirage at the Gulfstream or New York. I just don't ever like to play any of them. And then the 9 and 10. So like I went through and it was like process of elimination. Do I not like you? Do I like you? You're on the ticket. You're off the ticket. It was kind of that simple.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't disagree with anything you said there. I just really like the 2. I don't like the post for the 10. I did like I was 2-10-5-9, so I'm not going to argue with anyone that you used outside the 7, who I think I like couldn't get the job done at Monmouth N1Xs, and now you're coming here and facing Saratoga State Bred N1Xs. I think that's actually a step up in class.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens there. Is your speed play, but I don't think it's an easy enough lead. I do think you have multiple horses that want to be forward, and that's kind of why I knocked out both the 4 and the 7. I'm sorry, the 5 and the 7 from using on tickets. Is it feels like the 5, 6, 7 all want to go, and the 1's got some speed, and it's just like if we see horses line up here, I think it could cause a problem for them, and that sets up well again for like the 2 horse, the 10 horse, right? And I think the 9 horse is the interesting one at 10-1, huge jump up in class, but has run against State Bred N1X allowance level before with Rosario up and finished well. So I think you can make a case the 10 is the price you want to be using, possibly even a tournament horse here. But to me, the 2 is by far the class of the field. Mark asks, any worry that Pratt nor Ortiz are not on the 2? No. Mainly because last time out, Manny Franco rode this horse. And if you look at that start and they said, hey, we want to bring him back, I don't think it's surprising that you see Manny Franco here. I wouldn't have been shocked if it was Pratt. Irad rides for Lee on the outside when he usually is at Saratoga. You saw it last time on this horse. So to me, it kind of makes sense that it's Franco here. So that didn't bother me.
Same. If it was first time Franco and Pratt does never ride, then I'm like, oh, that's a big red flag. But no, it's no worry at all to me. But a good question. Good question.
Franco is clearly the 2, right? I would say Ortiz is the 1A, Pratt's the 1B. Manny Franco is clearly the 2. Like he is the third call for the Chad Brown barn in almost every situation.
I agree with that on Franco. Is Irad the 1A? Are we so sure about that? Are we really sure about that?
1A and 1B is it's splitting hairs between the top 2 there. I still think Irad gets first call on dirt horses. I think Pratt may get first call on some turf horses.
But it's not Irad that was riding Sierra Leone.
No, but it was Irad who was on Chancer McPatrick. So there are other dirt horses.
Oh yeah, Chancer, Sierra Leone.
But the Chancer McPatrick was thought of in that manner when that horse started running, right? And so I would still say that he gets the 1A dirt mounts. I mean, we could argue back and forth about the turf mounts. I mean, you could go back and forth about it.
Yeah, no, I'm mostly just giving you shit. As a Flavian Pratt fan.
It depends on the ownership group as well. If it's Kalleward, it's Ortiz. He is getting the 1A mounts.
I think so.
So I think that you might have to we might be splitting hairs between which ownership group feels better about Pratt versus Ortiz or vice versa.
Whereas I'm pretty sure Saul Cumin loves Flavian Pratt almost as much as I do. So when it's the Cumin horses, it's a little different there. All right, Mike, that's going to do it for episode 600 for the Magic Mike Show. Sorry I didn't have more planned for us, but that's okay. We'll go over our tickets one last time, and we'll do that down below. For the audio listeners, we'll read them out for you. I'm going to start just a 50-cent ticket for me. I'm going to go 2-6 with 3-6 with 1-5-7-9 with 2-3 with 2-5-7-9 10. $80 total for me, Mr. Somich.
I'm going to play 2 separate tickets here, one for 50 cents, one for $5, totaling, I believe it's $66 here. I'm going to play on the 50 cents ticket 2-6-8 with 1-3 with 1-5-7 with 1-2-3-7 with 2, and then I'll follow it up with a $5 ticket that is 2 with 1-3 with 5 with 2-3-7 with 2 for $30, all in on Amplitude in the last race here.
Those are our tickets. Best of luck if you're playing the Pick 5 or anything Saturday at Saratoga. It is Friday as we're doing this live, maybe as you're listening. And a reminder from myself, shameless plug, over on FanDuel TV, you can watch the entire Saratoga card over there all meet long. So only on Fridays, but you can play. You can also bet every single race all meet long over there. You just can't watch on the actual TV channel, Saratoga, except for on Saturdays. They do over on the website. I felt bad. I hadn't been on the website in a while, and I didn't realize, but I like it. They've changed the website. I think it looks great. I texted Aaron and Jared about it, but I want to give them a shout out. I think it looks great. Really, when it comes down to it, for all the things over the years that Mike and I, when we worked for the Dudes full time, were trying to do was grow it. And everybody just kept saying, we just care about the picks. Give us your picks for the races. So Aaron and Jared, they simplified it. And if you want free picks, you got easy access to those tracks right there. You can see the premium. It's all about the picks. The power play of the day is still there. Some people worry about that, but it is still there. And then you get down here, the betting Bible. And if you still want podcasts, it's there. You want the news. Jared's still posting news articles up there, the betting calculator. It's all still available, just really simplified to what the people want the most, which is the picks, which is why you're listening to us. You wanted our picks for the races at Saratoga, and we gave them to you.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So I love the update too, because inside the dashboard section, the numbers are colored now in the horse colors. So it's not just
yes, they are.
Which for me, as someone who checks the tickets that I put up for the Somobombs every day, makes my life a lot easier. So very excited to have that there as well. So I love the update. Great job by the dudes over there. You want more picks, you can check out VSiN at the Track, where you can find any of your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or wherever it is. If you want to check it out, I'd appreciate it if you give it 5 stars so we can try and get that pushed out to more people as we're growing that podcast with both Aaron Halterman and myself. And then be on VSiN this weekend if you're looking for some sports picks as well as horse racing. That's going to be from 10 to 1 Pacific, both Saturday and Sunday.
I was trying to pull up I'm a little late to it, but there it is. Boom. It's going to be double Mike Somich on your screen, so
lots of Mike. Lots of Mike.
I
swear, Alexia Zorba loves to lose. I mean, this horse just finds ways to lose at Saratoga.
Lose again?
So impressive.
My gosh.
Yeah, ran third. Like, by far the speed, easy lead, and it's just like, nope, we're going to back up now. Going to run third. That's fine. Had the winner, but unbelievable. It's unbelievable, that horse.
Remember when that horse came over to America and Slim would not shut up about that horse for like weeks?
That horse. That was Junior Appleby, right?
Junior, it was Joseph O'Brien.
Oh, Junior O'Brien. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was one of the little ones down there. One of the sons.
Appleby's kids aren't old enough to be trainers yet. They're still young.
That clip's interesting because that's the talk about the Zulu Kingdom. On the full podcast, we talk about the Delmar Disque, which was, to me, possibly the most asinine decision I've ever seen in my life in horse racing. I like the Zulu Kingdom one, at least when the stewards come on, they're like, look, we thought the 7 took the 3's path, and the 3 then came in on the 2, so we took the 7 down. I mean, you're wrong, but at least I understand why you think you did what you did.
Right.
The one at Delmar, where you have the 5 and the 7 literally slamming into each other with the head-on view, like literally just absolutely demolish each other, and you only take one of them down and you put the other one up, is ungodly to me. Like, it gets even worse than that if you go like a little further. Now,
that's so I was going to say it's in 3 parts. So here's the initial break. The 6 with the yellow and black in the middle was slow out of the gate. The 5 and look at the jockeys on the 5 and 7. They're trying to correct their horses. By the way, these are 2-year-olds.
Yep.
Let's be a little forgiving and understanding there.
2-year-old Calbred stakes.
And then right there. But like the 6 broke slow. The 5 and 7 came together. And in that split decision, Barrios on the 6, who we love Barrios as a jockey, but he tried rushing the horse into position and it didn't work out. But I also, like, out of the starting gate, they set the standard with Bayern. You do not disqualify shit like that out of the starting gate. There's been much worse that's been allowed.
And sorry for the podcast listeners, but you look at this picture, the 7 is almost like a 45-degree angle trying to turn out, and the 5 is at least straightening out here. Like, and it is crazy to me that you have that much contact. The 5 ends up winning this race at 20-1, and only the 5 comes down from this whole issue because the 6 clipped heels with the 5. Well, guess what? If the 6 had A broken, wouldn't have clipped heels. B, if the 7 hadn't have come over, wouldn't have clipped heels. Like, it is clearly either you take both the 5 and the 7 down, or you take no one down. The correct call is no one. But like, we're on a text chain. One of our friends has a big pick 3, I think it was, going, and has the 3, and he's like, "Is there any way the 3 gets put up?" And 10-minute review, not once, not one time did it cross my mind one of the 2 horses come down. It's either both or none, and then they take down one, and they put up the other horse that caused the problem into the win spot. I couldn't. That one blew my mind.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we have a mistake-free weekend, and Enjoy yourselves out there. Del Mar, Saratoga, Colonial Downs with Arlington Million, Mystic Dan trying the turf because at this point, why not?
Why not? Why not? What can go any worse at this point, right? I do want to shout out a horse real quick. Stars and Strides yesterday. And I'm mentioning this for two reasons. First off, Saratoga Stewards, way to not take that horse down. Takes a terrible step. I don't know if you have the replay of the stretch. Yesterday, Stars and Strides, I want to say it was in the like 8th or 9th race. But this is the horse that was working in the mornings with the one horse I loved last week, Ragtime, for Bill Mott. And has always had a turf hoof. They tried the dirt. When he won, they tried to try him on the dirt again. This was his first time going on turf. This could be a future like superstar 3-year-old. I would make sure you stable this horse up and see what this horse can do, because Stars and Strides sat behind a decently fast pace and exploded down the lane despite himself taking a bag step, almost going over the rail, tilts out and then explodes right by the eventual leader here. So Stars and Strides, very impressive yesterday at Saratoga. I would 100% want to stable this horse up, and this is a horse I want to play in stakes races moving forward. It's the 9 horse right here who is on the outside and takes this step on the inside, then has to recorrect to the outside, and then watch this kick once he gets clear of the 3. It just absolutely explodes, and this was the horse that was close to a 122 pace there, so 2 seconds under 12s, and just opens on this field. So I like this 9 quite a bit. Without that step, he wins by open lengths there. I think that's the horse that's going to be very interesting moving forward for Mott.
I gotta check with Shoddy. I think so. So it's owned by Pin Oak Stud. They had a contest to name a couple of their horses, like last year or 2 years ago. Based on the breeding of this horse, Shoddy, I think that's one of the horses that we were all competing, because they were giving away like lots of cool stuff. If they picked your name, I want to say that that's one of them. That's really cool that he's turned out to be so good like that. That talented. He's goofy but talented.
Yes. Well, and that was the first time on turf, first time going 2 turns, like ton of excuses as to why you wouldn't run well. And like I said, attended a pretty decent pace. Everyone else you could see that finished in the top 3 was all coming from way back. He was sitting in 3rd that entire race. Now, got a very good trip. But that being said, considering what that horse did in the stretch, there's a lot more talent there that just needs to be uncovered.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for episode 600. We made it 600 down. Who knows how many to go? But we appreciate everybody for the support along the way. It's been quite a ride, and we'll keep it rolling moving forward here. Best of luck this weekend. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. He's at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8. Corporate Overlords at Racing_Dudes. Check out Blinkers Off that went live with their Breeders' Cup Classic rankings. Some pretty divisive ideas there that they want your opinion on. So leave them in the YouTube comment section. And until next time, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.